Victory Savings Bank, established in 1921, was South Carolina's first Black-owned bank, chartered by President I.J. Joseph and Vice Presidents I.S. Levy and C.E. Stevenson. The bank was located in the center of Columbia's Black Business District at 1107 Washington Street. During its first 5 years, deposits grew from $2,600 to $175,000. Jessica Monteith Simpkins joined the bank full-time in 1957 as the Public Relations Director. The bank also opened a branch at 1503 Hardin Street in 1962, which was managed by Ms. Simpkins. Following financial difficulties in 1999, a group of local African-American business leaders, led by Dr. David Swinton, revived the bank as South Carolina Community Bank.
Our original intention was to buy Victory from O'Connor. The FDIC had come up and essentially closed Victory, had a bidders conference. We didn't know anything about it. We were shocked. So we said, oh no, you gotta let us bid on this bank because we need to keep it an African-American bank as the only African-American bank in South Carolina. Well, FDIC said, no, you guys can't bid. The bidding's over. Besides, you guys aren't bankers. What do you know about banking? We called Strom Thurmond. 5 minutes after he called the FIDC, we got a call from him and said, you guys, if you can come to Atlanta tomorrow, we'll talk to you. After they gave us the bid, we only had 3 days to raise that capital. And nobody believed you could raise $3 million in the African-American community in 3 days, but we did. He sent a little guy down from the Federal Reserve with glasses and a big folder, and he said, you now own the bank, and you need to open, this was Saturday. They said, you need to open on Monday. We said, we open, we're gonna open. They said, you gotta open Monday. Fortunately, I knew President of Bank America in the Carolinas and the South. So I called him, and he loaned us a person to get the bank open. We worked very hard. The bank was in trouble. They had a deficit. They had a lot of bad debts and all that kind of stuff. We were able to eventually get all that worked out, move the assets of the bank from about 30 million to over 100 million. The bank's been doing well. It's been growing. Its assets have gone up, its deposits have gone up. It's got a very good capital position. They actually paid a dividend this year. I think that's the first dividend we ever paid. And not only that, they paid a very nice dividend. And so everybody's happy with that and glad to see the bank is prospering. I still believe what I believed then, that we need to have a minority presence in the banking community. That's the only way we survive, really.
In 2012, successful entrepreneur and longtime investor Paul Mitchell became chairman and led the bank out of the Great Recession into stability and growth.
My name is Paul Mitchell. I'm the chairman of the board at Optus Financial Corporation, Optus Bank. I've been involved in the bank since 1999. I was one of the group of investors that helped to save the assets of Victory Savings. You know, it was a point of pride in our community. And so when Dr. Swinton called me and asked me if I would be willing to invest in the bank and saving the bank, I was more than willing to do so. And so I was on the board originally. Had a lot of great people on that board. Obviously Dr. Swinton, he helped to save the bank, and he led it very effectively. But he was very well respected in the community. He was a president of the Columbia Chamber of Commerce, and he used his reputation to do a lot of good things, and one was to save the bank. And we did well initially. We went through a couple of presidents, as all organizations do. Things we were up and down, but we became profitable. I think around our third or fourth year in existence, and which is actually relatively good for an African American bank. And I think we did pay dividends one time. It was in the mid 2000s, but then right soon after the Great Recession hit, property values went down, and as a bank, you end up having to write down your asset values when things decline. So it ended up causing a strain on the bank. So we struggled. I became chairman in 2012, and eventually we started to recapitalize the bank. I think about 2014-15, we started to begin to emerge and really resurrect the bank. And so I think the last 5, 6, 7 years have been just a period of steady growth. We're now, approaching $600 million in assets and very profitable. We owe that to a lot of folks. One is we owe it to the folks who started Victory, and sometimes that's a forgotten story. And we owe it to Dr. Swinton for saving the assets, helping save the assets of Victory Savings. We've had some good presidents. You've had Clint Fleming, who was involved. You had James Bennett, who contributed as well. And so, what I think is important to me is the full story is told, because there are a lot of people that really deserve credit for where we are today.
I would follow my father around as a young businessman in the 70s, and he went to Victory Savings Bank. He had an opportunity to be a part of the bank in 1999 when it was in transition to South Carolina Community Bank. So this is the 25th year that our family has an investment in this bank. And we're invested because we believe it's a requirement of our community. The great experience for me is to watch the bank go from its challenges to being a successful, strong bank in the community. That it's not just coming to the bank just to help us out, but coming to a bank where you'll be well banked, where we have great customer service now that I've experienced, that we've made changes that value us as people, value us as individuals, value us importantly as our money, because we work hard for it, and no matter what it takes to accumulate it, we want to keep it. And Optus Bank is part of that financial plan that keeps us in our community and our money banked in our community. We talk about other communities, how the money circulates 29 times in the Asian community and only a matter of minutes in our community. Part of that change is having a bank. We've had this bank in our community for 100 years. That makes us very special in Columbia, South Carolina.
Sitting here today is such an opportunity. Sitting here today make me look back in history. Sitting here today make me see where we are going. And everything is such a positive. We can clearly see that wherever we've been, we're on the right journey. It's a matter that we took something that was going under and today has made it into a significant shining star for the city and the state. So today I tell you folks, we're on a journey of success. The day I had received a letter saying 15% dividends being paid, I was absolutely shocked. I didn't invest for the dividend. I invested because I wanted to be a part of something strong. I can tell you today, join me and invest in the future for your children, my great-grandchildren, and all of the rest of the children in South Carolina.
In 2017, Dominic Miartin joined Chairman Mitchell and Director Kenny Lloyd as an investor and was named President and CEO. Miartin's goal was to grow the bank's mission and impact and financial strength. The bank was renamed Optus Bank in 2019 and moved operations to the current location.
Sometime in early 2017, I went to a conference for mission-driven banks for minority depositories and CDFIs, and I met these two gentlemen from Columbia, South Carolina that had a little bank that I knew about. And the reason I knew about the bank is one of very few at that time African-American banks. And when I started my conversation with Paul Mitchell, who's now our chairman, was the chairman at the time, and his business partner, Kenny Lloyd, I quickly picked up that they had tremendous entrepreneurial spirit. And so as they shared with me the story and of their involvement, I really became inspired. And so when I decided to pick my family up and become a significant investor and join as president and CEO, I was really betting on them. I was betting on enhancing and growing their vision for this institution. And what really resonated with me, I remember a first conversation I had with Paul and Kenny actually at my house in Little Rock, Arkansas. They really challenged me to make it the bank of first choice, which is where the name Optus comes from. Opt us. It's from Latin to choose. Within 6 months, we started to see the progress. We started to see that the community was starting to support us, not just the local community, but nationally. We were able to really mobilize some new stakeholder groups that saw and believed in the bank, believed in the vision, believed in the leadership. There's a broad-based recognition that Optus Bank is not just good for Columbia, South Carolina. It's not just a critical asset for South Carolina, but it's a critical asset to fuel the growth of America and broad-based prosperity of all people, not just those that in 1921 could walk into any institution. So every day I get to see the wonderful joy of customers that come to us from other institutions where they were underserved or unserved. And so the purpose that our visionary African-American founders had for creating a bank like Victory Savings Bank in 1921 is ever more relevant today.
Under Martin's leadership, the bank has grown in assets to over $500 million and will open a state-of-the-art location at the intersection of Bull and Gervais Street by August 2024.